Hello. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share with you. I'm grateful to Humanitysteam for asking me to share with you something that will help you to establish an even greater relationship with higher consciousness as part of this wonderful Global Oneness Summit. It's my greatest honor to help people come to know that there's another whole aspect of ourselves beyond the story. You know it's there. We touch it in those moments when we stop worrying about the future or thinking about the past and all the baggage that comes with that. So I have found a practice that really helps you to stay connected with higher consciousness, with higher beings. You know, in my past, I spent 20 years in the Navy. I had no idea there was a greater reality at that time. I felt guided at times, but I always attributed that to just paying attention to my left brain. Now I've come to know, since I've been on this spiritual path, that we are always guided by beings who have a higher perspective than we do, by our own higher self, through evidence-based connections with higher beings, by putting them to the test. Is this really you? Is this my imagination? And receiving verifiable information that I validate to show me I truly am connecting with higher beings. I am convinced beyond a doubt that we have unseen helpers. You can call them spirit guides, call them angels, call them whatever you want, but all of us have access to this help. And wouldn't it be wonderful to always be able to turn to those who have that bigger picture? Because down here in our human suits, our people suits, as my friend calls them, we definitely have a limited perspective. And when we only believe in our story, then we're definitely limited. It was Einstein who said that no problem is solved from the same level at which it was created. And where are all of our problems? At this level. So how wonderful is it to know that we have creative, intelligent expressions of consciousness that we can tap into to ask questions, to get guidance, to receive insights even when we don't ask for it. Those in the spirit world want to help you. They want to establish an ongoing connection with you. So in this time together, I'm going to show you a wonderful tool that you can use to let your higher guides get your attention when there's something they want to share with you. I'm going to help you set an intention that happens anytime you need their help. How's that sound? All right. So it's interesting that I'm going to teach you this technique because what it's called is looking for snags or watching for snags. And what's interesting about the timing is my husband and I were just talking about when you kayak or canoe in a creek like this, and you can see it's running quite rapidly with some rocks along the way, some obstructions. A snag in a river or a creek is when a branch is underwater and you may not see it. And if you're in a kayak, a canoe, it can literally snag your boat and turn you over. You may see some people go tubing down this river, and snags would be a challenge for them as well. But the kind of snag I'm talking about is not dangerous. You want this kind of snag in your life because it's going to be helpful. Another kind of snag that I often think about is in a sweater, kind of like this one, or a nice wool knit sweater. When you see a snag, it catches your attention, doesn't it? So unlike the ones under the water, these kind of stand out and you're aware of them. The reason I call this tool looking for snags is because spirit will use anything in your awareness to snag you, to catch your attention when there's a message to give to you. How do you like that? To me, it's so exciting to know that I don't have to be constantly on guard for messages. If I set the intention, my guides are going to snag me with something. Just like looking down at that sweater, you see something, it catches your attention. So let's do a little bit of an exercise to show you how this might work for you. First, we're going to give our guides or our loved ones who have passed those who have a message for us right here, right now, because there's no accident that you're watching this video right now, I want to give them permission to snag my attention. That's what I'd like you to do right now. Just give permission to be snagged. And that's all it takes, just one little statement silently. I give you permission. And now let your gaze wander and just notice how everything that comes into your awareness flows one into the other, but give it a second and just wait till one thing that your eyes fall upon has a little bit of a different feel, a catch. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, that's about all the time you need in this practice to be snagged by something. So, state in your mind silently, I was just snagged by whatever it is. Now, go to your heart again, trusting that you have an eternal, ongoing connection with higher beings. It can be no other way because we're all connected by consciousness. I'd like you to ask silently, why did that object or that person, that thing, snag me just then? Go ahead, ask that from the heart and be silent as you wait for the answer. Okay, hopefully you sensed something. You may hear it. You may see visuals. You may just know what the guides are trying to tell you. You may feel something in your body. Let's pull that thread a little more, and this time I'd like you to ask, what is the deeper message in this snag for me? Go ahead and ask that now. Okay, I hope you sensed something. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it in a little bit more of a relaxed, more centered state. The more you can align with your true nature and get very relaxed, the more easy it will be for you to sense the deeper message. The more you practice this, the easier it'll be to get your messages without even having to stop and take a deep breath. So, before we do that, I want to talk about the way we look at things. For now, take a look at my hand right here. Stare at it on screen really intently. Just focus right here. Now I'd like you to notice how that feels in your very being as you stare intently at my hand. Do you feel an intensity, a focus? Now I'd like you to relax your eyes. Relax your body more. Your eyes can get a little bit droopy, a little bit out of focus, and expand your field of vision to take in more of my arm. You can still see the center of my hand, yet you're seeing more of this. Now expand even more, take in as much of me as you can see. You can still see my hand, but now you can see the whole background. That's called soft gazing. It's really helpful because it helps you get into a nice, calm alpha brainwave state. Feel how that feels. Notice how relaxed, it's a bit more flowy. Now go back to intently staring at my hand. You feel the difference. When we're deliberately looking for snags, soft gaze is best. So this time we're going to look for snags. I'm going to do it with you. I'll tell you what I get, and then you'll see what you get. All right? My guides just gave me an interesting experiment to do. I'm going to do one that applies to everyone who listens to this video, but first we'll do it just for you. See what snags you in your field of vision. So let's take a nice deep breath to get centered. Breathe in to the count of 4. Now exhale to the count of 6. Breathing like that, where you exhale longer than you inhale, triggers the body's relaxation response, a really great way to get centered anytime at will. By the way, extra bonus here, it'll get rid of a craving in an instant. You're heading for the refrigerator or a bag of chocolate and you know you really don't need it. Do one of those breaths where you breathe in and breathe out longer than you breathed in, and you will find that craving disappears, because the whole reason you had that craving is stress. That beautiful breath that presses on the vagus nerve in your body is a perfect way to get centered, relaxed, and connect with higher consciousness. So let's do that one more time. Now exhale slowly, longer than you inhaled. Okay, by now you should be nice and relaxed. Instead of gazing around the room where you are, I'd like you to gaze at the background on the screen here, or at me, and see what snags your attention. While you do that, I'm going to soft gaze around my scenery and see what snags me. Okay, and my guides just made my lip twitch. That's my "you've got it" signal from them. Trust this. So I'll give you mine first, just again to give you an example of how this works. But there's a large rock about this size off in the middle ground, and it's very dark, and it has an opening in the center of it, and it's balanced precariously on another rock. So as I notice that of all the rocks and all the scenery here, that one rock snagged my attention. Now I have my awareness in the heart, which is the bridge to higher consciousness, and I shift to being aware of my guides, and I ask, why did that larger rock snag me? And I sense and I know it's because it's balanced, but a little bit off center. And honestly, all morning I was feeling a little bit off center. I'm feeling good now after all those deep breaths, but they're telling me to pay attention to the darker spot in the center of that rock as a way of assuring me and all of us that even when you're a little off balance, there's this center, this hard core of you that is always balanced. So I love that message, and it's always great to send gratitude when just what you need to hear is received. So I'm hearing right now, all is well. There will always be ups and downs, but balance is always found within. So see how I unfolded that, pulled the thread, and got some great guidance that really is helpful for me today. So as you were soft gazing around the scenery on the screen, what snagged your attention? Okay, now look at that again. Hopefully it's still there and didn't fly away like a bird. Go to the heart. Trust that you have guides or loved ones who are going to put the insight into your awareness, no matter how they do, through knowing, feeling, hearing, or seeing images. Pull the thread by asking, why did that particular item snag my attention? You can further ask the question, what is the deeper meaning in this for me at this particular moment in my life? Do you see how easy that is? Do you see how quick that is? It's like having a genie in the bottle when you come to have a personal relationship with higher consciousness. Notice how the messages, when I got them, when I pulled the thread, didn't come from a specific guide. I didn't say, oh, that was my stepdaughter across the veil, or that was my main spirit guide, or that was an angel. I just trust that whoever has the highest answer for me and for you is going to give it. You can have a deeper relationship with them and develop that in longer meditations. But for these snags, it doesn't matter who gives it to you. You don't have to see them. It's all about receiving guidance. All right. So now, when I said earlier, my guides just gave me a great idea for a fun practice we can do. I'm going to show you how Spirit will deliver exactly what message you need in your unique way, because I'm going to let something here snag me with the intention that it has a message for you. Now, countless people are going to watch this video, and yet the message, even though it comes from the same snag, is going to be unique and special for everyone who watches this, okay? All right, so I have no idea what's going to snag me, but I hope you're excited because it's going to be the perfect message for you. You're going to have to pull the thread though, so here we go. I'm getting centered. I soften my gaze. And now I'm gazing around. I was snagged back there, but I want to make sure that's it. And I hear with my guides, that's it. I'm actually at a beautiful campground, and my recreational vehicle is off to my left. And what snagged me was the great big mirror on the side of the RV. So a mirror snagged me. It snagged me for you. Now I'd like you to go to your heart and ask Spirit, ask higher consciousness, what is the message in the mirror for me, for you? You're asking this question at this moment in my life. Ask that question. Why does the mirror have a message for you? And that's all the time you need to ask the question. If you wait too long to get your answer, the left brain steps in and can distort the answer. You go with the very first thing you sense, all right? Now, if you feel there's more to excavate there's a deeper message, that's a great time to go into a more expanded state of consciousness, perhaps a lengthier meditation. It doesn't have to be an hour, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, to go deeper and ask your guides, tell me more about this message. It stirred something up in me. I can feel there's something there ready to be released, or something that I need to learn and know right now. So thank you for that message. Let's go deeper and find out more. Do you see how easy it is to work with your guides? Some people think that you have to put them on a pedestal and make this really formal, but snags work throughout your day, anytime, anywhere. I find it fun. Those in Spirit love to play with us, and trust me, anything that we can use to work with them and establish an ongoing relationship is fantastic. Okay, so to that end, I would like to work with you right now and set an intention to show you how easy it is to work with your guides, to have them help you to notice the snags, okay? So I'd like, as I state this intention, that you follow along with my words and make my words your words. So I'm going to help you put the words into your mind from your heart to your guides, to set the intention that from now on you're going to notice the snags, you're going to remember to use them, and you're going to remember to pull the thread and get the most out of this awesome tool, okay? So here we go. Let's close our eyes for this one to shut out any external distractions. So close your eyes for a moment. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale longer than you inhaled. Now go to the heart with your awareness. Shift your focus to higher consciousness. Trust me, it's just like pushing the remote control button. You don't have to know how it happens. It's just your intention to shift to the higher realms, and here you are, attuned to those at the higher realms. So, in this connected state, we ask our higher self, our team of guides in spirit, our loved ones across the veil, to work with us. May my words be your words now. Oh, my helpers across the veil, I'm so grateful that you called me to watch this video now, to learn this tool about snags. I'm so excited to work with this new tool as a way of getting to know that I am never alone, that I have helpers always who will deliver messages to me in this fun and unique ways. I'm excited that I'll be able to hear from you throughout my day, every day, anytime there's an important message for me to hear from your higher perspective. And so I am willing to be snagged by you, by any being of the light with my greatest good in mind. I allow you to catch my attention, and I promise to be aware when those snags occur. I can't wait to feel the surge of joy and excitement in my heart as I notice the snags, and I promise that as I notice those snags, I will pause, I will notice what it is that particularly caught my attention, and I will pull the thread by asking you, why did that snag me now, and what is the deeper message for me at this particular moment in my life? I'm sending you gratitude right now for helping me with this ongoing project, this new way of being in my life, and I promise to do my best to keep up my part of the bargain here and learn from whatever it is you show me. Thank you so much for helping me in this way and working with me so that I may be an agent for change in birthing a new world. Wow. Powerful stuff, and yet so easy, isn't it? This kind of tool is what you can learn from Humanitysteam through their beautiful Humanitysteam program. I'm so grateful to everyone at Humanitysteam for allowing me to put 4 of my courses online with hundreds of other offerings. So a little bit of a commercial announcement here, but I wouldn't be doing this work with Humanitysteam if I hadn't found them to be the most amazing resource for materials that help all of us raise our consciousness, feel more connected, and create a new world. We are changing lives one by one. That not just us at Humanitysteam, but all of us as we invest our time, our money, our effort, and our hearts into raising the consciousness of the whole. So grateful to Humanitysteam. I really hope that you will check out Humanitysteam, their online streaming service for unlimited access to courses that will help you and help you feel connected with other kindred spirits who are really concerned about creating, birthing this new world in consciousness. All right, so why does this practice of watching snags make a difference in our world? I know you agree with me that it is far too easy to get caught up in the drama of our stories. For most of my life, I thought I was only human. Today, I teach the awakened way of living, and that involves 3 basic principles. The first one is you are not only human. You are a soul and a human at the same time, and part of the wholeness of all that is. The second principle of living the awakened way is to understand that you are part of one big web connecting all that is. That web is among all of us here at this level of human beings, but also across the veil with all beings, all expressions of the one mind. And that's what is going to become so obvious to you, how those across the veil are helping you by showing you the connections. Synchronicities will really start to flow once you start noticing the snags left and right. And the third principle of the awakened way is that you find healing, you find connections through expanded states of consciousness, expanded states of awareness. It requires expanded awareness to notice the snags. So having just set the intention that you allow your guides to snag you will require you to be a little bit more aware. Trust me, the more you notice those little snags, the more you'll get in the flow. It will become a habit. I smiled just then because as I looked down, my eyes just fell down. I was snagged by this little weed or plant growing up through the mud. And it makes me smile because I know the deeper message in that snag right there. But let me pull the thread just a little more. Spirit wants you to know that growth is the natural way of life. That plant is growing here amidst the rocks, even though there's not a beautiful lawn here at all. Growth is natural, it happens, and it goes towards the light, always. And guess what? That same force that animates that little plant that snagged me just then flows through you. Following the snags, pulling the thread, will help you to know that that force is breathing you now, and it wants you to grow toward the light. So have fun with this. It's been my honor, my pleasure to share working with snags with you. Have fun pulling the thread, and I look forward to your excitement as you watch your path unfold in ever more beautiful ways. Thank you so much. Hello, and welcome to the first module in this masterclass on cosmic forces shaping a new world. I'm Suzanne Giesemann, and it's my honor to help you understand your true nature in this first module. The problem facing most of us these days, the problems you see in the world, are that most humans think we're only human, and nothing could be farther from the truth. We feel like we're separate, we're alone, it's us against them. This kind of separation, this is the illusion that causes discord and disharmony. I'm here today to teach you how to find harmony and how to thrive by understanding your fundamental nature is wholeness. Nobody tells us that. Most people walk around feeling they're broken, that there's something wrong with them. I know we can all identify with that feeling, but what a blessing it is when you come to know you are not broken at your fundamental level. There is nothing wrong with you beyond the human story. Anything that tells you otherwise is simply what I call BS, and that stands for belief system. What did you think it meant? I spent my entire career as a Navy officer. I rose to the rank of commander and had the honor of serving as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff's aide-de-camp, his right-hand man, so to speak. Throughout my Navy career, I had no idea there's a greater reality. I had no idea that there are cosmic forces, actual sentient beings we can call upon to give us insight, to help us know we're not alone, to show us we are part of one interconnected web of being. Being, a state of wholeness, is your fundamental nature. Think about it. What's the one thing you're aware of? Awareness itself. You exist and you know it. That in itself cannot be divided. Awareness is indivisible. The field from which all of your experiences arise in a human body is unified, completely whole, and all of us share this field. Each of us is here in human form to experience our unique story and how it plays out. But they all arise from a field beyond any story. So the goal on this journey of coming to understand the cosmic forces that unite us all is coming to know yourself beyond the story. I say that there are 3 E's that lead to the evolution of our awareness. The first one is educate yourself. Educate yourself about who you really are, and we're already working on that right here, right now. The second is experience for yourself your true nature as consciousness in expression, as wholeness fundamentally. And then when you tap into that field, when you attune to this fundamental wholeness, engage the other patterns of consciousness, sentient beings just like you, but less limited than our human focus, who you will encounter when you step into expanded states of awareness. We're going to get into how to do that in future modules. For now, my goal in this initial module is to help you understand, perhaps through a few analogies, how you can be both whole at your fundamental level and feel a bit separate as a human being. I like to use the example of a disco ball. A disco ball is one light. It extends that light outward through various lenses on the surface, each one of them facing just a little bit of a different direction. We are like the lenses on that disco ball, and yet we share the same light within. That's the light of consciousness. The wholeness that is your essence is the entire light, the disco ball. But if you use the lenses on that disco ball to represent human beings, there are about 7.5 billion lenses on this one light, and therefore each of us is viewing the external world upon which the light shines through just a little bit of a different lens. So thinking that we all have to think alike is rather silly at this level of being a human being. We came here as direct expressions of this conscious, sentient, creative, intelligent wholeness for the unique experience that each one of us lives in our human lives. So I believe that this path, the challenge for us is undoing the human belief system that says you're only human. Clearing out the beliefs that cover up the wholeness that is foundational. Another example would be, for example, imagine a vast open desert area. All that space is just open and empty. And someone comes along and builds a warehouse in the desert. They put up walls and a ceiling, basically compartmentalizing the space. But the space within that warehouse is exactly the same as it was before, only now limited somehow. And the space outside and the space within can't possibly be separated except temporarily. That's kind of like the human body. It appears to separate us from the field from which the body arises, and yet it's just a temporary compartmentalization. Ultimately, the walls will come down, and we realize that our true nature, the space, the spaciousness, was never really changed. So just a couple of analogies, and surely you've heard the analogy of consciousness or the wholeness that's your fundamental nature being like an ocean. And you and I are waves within the ocean, temporary arisings of the very water of which the ocean is made. You can't have an ocean without water. Water makes up the ocean. The waves cannot be separated from the ocean. And each wave is very unique from the other. It arises and it subsides, but it can arise again. So don't worry about subsiding and dissolving into nothingness. Right now, you are the ocean expressing itself as a wave. Just a few things to get you thinking in a more dualistic nature. Ultimately, there is only oneness, this wholeness from which all that is arises. The duality comes when you realize you are both human and wholeness itself. Now, the human being is a field of information that is constantly communicating with the entire field of consciousness, the wholeness. There are fields within fields. Every cell in your body is a unique field that is sentient. It has that same intelligence in it because everything that exists arises from this intelligent whole field, the unified field, if you want to call it that. So a cell is one small field, your organs form a larger field, systems within the body, a larger field, such as the respiratory system. Then we have the human body itself, but that's not where you as an entity end. That's just one compartmentalization of you. The larger you would call the soul. The soul can be embodied as it is now, as you listen to this, but after the body dies, the soul continues to exist, and it can choose to continue the story of you without a physical form. That story of you, that role that you're playing now in human form, will always be part of the soul and always be part of the unified field. Always is a term that exists within time. The soul and the field itself are beyond time. It's holographic. All information that ever arises in that field will always be part of that field. I've come to understand all of this as the result of the death of my stepdaughter. When I saw her lifeless body, I had the inner knowing that arose from the field of all knowing that there is a part of us that cannot die. That you might call the soul. Or it's just the field itself. There are various levels. The more expanded your awareness, the more you dissolve into the field itself, the less limited your thinking. So think outside the box with me now. That's what I had to do when I made it my mission to discover if my Susan, my stepdaughter, still existed after she was struck and killed by lightning. I went into an expanded state of awareness on a daily basis. In other words, I started meditating. The week she passed, somehow I knew if I was going to connect with her, if this thing called a soul still exists, then I needed to get outside my limited human thinking. Boy, did I find a lot when I went into those expanded states. And I'm going to teach you how to do that as well. I discovered there's so much more than this external physical world. There are worlds within worlds, like I said, nested fields. The goal of this masterclass is to get you to see that we are all interconnected because all fields interact. It's one big matrix that we're part of, and every bit of it is connected to every other bit. What if we were to see our world that way? What if we were to see and understand each other as sharing the same fundamental wholeness? We would stop hurting each other. We would stop hurting our environment. When I learned that I could connect with Susan very clearly, I needed to be able to prove that this wasn't my imagination. So I engaged with her. That's the third E, engage with other entities, conscious, sentient, intelligent beings that arise from our shared wholeness. I asked Susan for evidence that I was actually communicating with her. Tell me something going on in your biological mother's life, I said to her, that I couldn't possibly know. And she told me 3 things, just put them right into my awareness in her very own voice. She told me, my mother's cat is sick. My mom just had a funny incident with a ladder, and she has Christmas lights up inside her house now, even though it was October at the time that I encountered Susan in meditation for the first time. I came out of meditation, I said to my husband, Ty, my goal, I accomplished it. I connected with Susan. She's still right here. And she gave me evidence. We need to call her mom and verify this. So we called Ty's ex-wife, and she validated. She had just brought her cat home from the doctor with medication. Over the weekend, They had lost a ladder, couldn't find it. Everybody looked everywhere for it, and it turned out to be right under everybody's nose. And she had Christmas lights up inside her house, year-round, in fact.